Hey guys, it's Ethan from Zimmer Labs, and I'm here to do a video on this Nightbrother dual saber staff that I just finished up. This one's for Ronnie, although I'm not sure if Ronnie actually still wants it, so this one actually may be for sale. I have to talk to him first, but this guy is, the hilt is by Watto's Junkyard. They did a really nice job on it. It's really nicely machined. They did it pretty quickly. I was impressed at how fast it came together from concept to at my door. But as you can see, it's pretty big. It's a big boy. It's thin. It's nicely machined. It's got lots of nice little greebles and design elements built in, and a lot of them are functional, which is cool. And it is a one-piece staff. It doesn't separate in the middle like Darth Maul or Ventress or Satel Shan or any of those other double sabers that have a connector in the middle. Instead, it's a one piece. It's got grips in the middle with little sound vents underneath all the grips, so that's where your sound comes out. For this guy, I did it's a Neopixel build with Profi boards, or Profi board. It's got a Goth 3 Designs Paladin chassis in it, and what I did was, the goal was to put just one Profi board in to control both sides, to save some cost and to make it simpler. The main reason being because it's a staff only and it doesn't separate into two sabers, it doesn't make sense to put two sound cards in. If it separated into two, I would definitely have opted to put two cards in there so each one could be individual. But since this will never be done as individual sabers, it's always going to be together, it makes sense to just use one card. So what I did was, I used the Goth 3 Designs chassis, like I said, on one side, and on the other side I made my own chassis, which basically mirrors the Goth chassis. And then I installed the sound card, the battery, speaker, accent LEDs. Then on the other side I installed another battery, another speaker, recharge port, and then additionally the power switch, the auxiliary switch on both sides. And then I connected it up so that both batteries and both speakers are running off one sound card and are running all the time. Although the batteries, I'll get into in a bit, are not always running all the time, it's up to you. But the main reason for doing dual everything on this guy, except for the sound card, is because it's a Neopixel lightsaber with dual blades, and that means this thing takes a lot of juice to run. Each blade, if you're running it at blue or something that's a really heavy-duty, brighter color blade, like if it's just green or just red, it's not quite so heavy duty, but if it's blue or yellow or white, you're running basically maximum amps of whatever the Neopixels can push, and a standard 33, 34, 35 inch Neopixel blade at maximum amperage is somewhere in the 11 to 14 amp range. So with two blades, you're talking 22 to 28 to even 30 amps if this thing is running at a bright color with both blades on. And that means one battery is going to have a really hard time pushing both blades to be maximum brightness. You can do it on one battery, but it's not going to look as good. It's not going to perform as well. The blades are going to have a gradient effect where they start brighter, and then as you get towards the end, they dim out, or the color even changes towards the end because the current is getting sucked up by the Neopixels in order from the beginning up to the end, and by the time to get down 2/3 of the way down the blade, there's not going to be enough current left for those pixels to do what they're trying to do, so you're going to see an actual physical, visible change in the color or the brightness. So, what I did to get around that is I first off opted for the most beefy batteries that you can find. This has dual Samsung 40Ts. They're 30 amp batteries and they're 4,000 milliamp hours. So this guy is running 2 of those, so that means it's a 60 amp, 8,000 milliamp hour setup. But because it's 2 blades, really you can kind of cut that in half if you're used to running a Neopixel lightsaber, because you're basically running 2 at the same time. But at any rate, so the power plant on this guy is dual battery, maximum of 60 amp discharge, and 8,000 milliamp hours, or 8 amp hours of power in this guy. So the power is beefed out maximum. You're not going to have an issue with that, period. Now, as I said, you can run 1 or both batteries at the same time. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to give whoever ends up owning this guy some flexibility. And what I mean by that is these greebles here are twist to activate kill keys. Now you can twist one of them and both sides of the saber come on. But if you twist both of them, now you're running both batteries and both sides of the saber come on stronger. So, with the way this is set up, you can run 1 battery at a time if you want to get maximum battery life, length of time out of this guy, or you can run both at once if you want maximum brightness. So the choice is up to you. If you're at a convention and you feel like this thing's going to be dead before the convention's over, run 1 battery at a time. That way you've got one, and when it's dead, turn the other one on, and you're back to full blast again. But if you're just messing around with it, you know, choreographing a video, playing outside, working on your moves, use both batteries. You're going to get maximum brightness, maximum volume, and you're not going to have to worry about battery life because you're not using it all day. You're using it for an hour or 2. So that was my first goal with this guy. Let's show you guys how everything's set up. Obviously it's the same on both sides. Over here, this red greeble is your activation button. This little LED window here is actually a Neopixel LED and is also the auxiliary button. So when you press that, it jumps to the next blade. And you'll notice that whatever the blade's doing, this little LED window is mimicking. And it's really bright. It's kind of hard to look at even. But the cool thing is both sides do the same thing. Both sides work. So depending on where your hands are, what you're doing, you can make both blades, both sides can control the saber itself. Next up you see in this little hole on this side a flashing red light. That is your Bluetooth notification window. Over here, the same area is not a hole, it's just a little tiny round greeble that's kind of screwed in there. You'll notice that the Bluetooth notification guy is flashing because it's on but not connected. And I wish I had a panoramic camera for you guys, because this saber with both blades on is just so darn big that it, even with my camera set to ultra wide 4K, I can't even get the whole thing in from this distance. But I'm getting probably 2/3 of it. Total length on this guy is around 79 inches. Because you have dual batteries running in parallel, you have to have dual recharge ports. You can't charge 2 batteries from 1 port. Well, you can, it's just a bad idea because it's not going to charge correctly. And it also is a tiny bit dangerous, so don't do that, I don't recommend it. So with this guy, dual custom battery chargers. You just plug this guy into the recharge port and then stick the other dummy cell end into a lithium charger, and it charges right up into the battery. So 2 of these, that way you can charge them both. Additionally, 2 blade plugs Now, with this guy, because it's kind of difficult to run through and navigate, I thought this would be a fantastic opportunity to show you guys the new Bluetooth program in action. And yes, it's not out yet, but it will be very soon, and I finally have access to a tester version, a demo version of the actual software itself. So this is Dimitri Stock Custom Works Bluetooth software that he has been developing with the aid of a program developer. He's told me any number of times that it should be out in a couple weeks, and I know he's a little bit frustrated that it's taking as long as it has, but I can definitely tell you that the software is going to be well worth the wait because it's great. It really works very well. This is your main interface when you first open it up. When you first open it up, it looks for all the Bluetooth available devices, and as you can see, it picked it up right away. It says Nightbro, and the signal strength is 2 out of 4 bars right now. It was 3 out of 4 bars a second ago, but all you have to do is just click on it, and then it jumps you to the next screen, and you tell the software, you tell the program what card is in it. This is Profi board, so we tell it it's a Profi board. And then it gets you over to the next page, which is your battery meter. Sorry. Power cell right here. And it tells you what the charge is. Right now it's at 4.1 volts at 100%. Really it's 4.2 volts for 100%, but it's telling you that it's basically full. And you also get presets, and then you have to hit list presets, and now you get a nice populated list of all the different presets that are on the lightsaber. So this tells us there are 17 different blade presets, what they are, what the sound font is, and what the audio track associated with the blade is. So the first one is a red flash blade with Count Dooku font, and Duel of the Fates is the audio track for it. And this is just super handy if you're kind of diagnosing or tweaking or running through anything. The next part is the meat of the program, the remote control section. And you'll notice, simple as that to turn it on. Now you can run through all the different effects just by touching the different buttons. Blaster blocks. Here's a force effect. No, there isn't one for this. Here's a lockup. Here's a blade drag. Actually, you won't be able to see that, so let's not. And we can start the audio track real quick if you want to hear it. This is, I think, a clip from Rogue One. And you notice that I'm turning the volume up and down directly from here. That's probably my favorite part about this Bluetooth software, is the volume control. Because there is no just easy onboard volume control on a Profi board lightsaber. You have to connect up to your computer via USB, open up Arduino, recompile and re-upload your code into the saber to change the volume, which is one of the very few flaws with the whole design of it, because that's way too much work, way too complicated for the average user to be able to change the volume. It should be much, much simpler. It should just be a setting on the SD card or something that's easily accessible. But with this Bluetooth app, it becomes easily accessible. To jump to the next preset, you just take the second slide bar here, slide it over, fire it up, and there you are in the next preset. Very, very cool. It's almost like using the Force to control a lightsaber. I love it. It's so cool. And just the fact that it works the way it's supposed to effortlessly. I haven't seen any bugs or glitches with the software at all whatsoever. It just seems like it's working perfect. And that's great because this is still a beta test version. This isn't the finished final version that's going to be released for you guys. And yet it still seems to be relatively completely bug-free. So this is just really a much easier way to run through all the presets if you're working on a build yourself, or if you're diagnosing, or if you're reconfiguring your lightsaber. If you've got Bluetooth in there and you've got it set up to work, it's so much easier than having to push the buttons on the lightsaber. If you can just set it down and use this interface wirelessly, it's so much easier to do, and it makes life that much easier if you're trying to change or tweak or reprogram something. So I can't say enough how much I really like this program. I think you can even get this thing to turn on muted if you double tap the power button. Nope, I guess not. If you double tap the power button on the actual saber itself, that'll power on muted, but it doesn't work through Bluetooth. But that's okay, it's not really important because you've got the sound bar right here, you can just turn it down. Very, very cool to see this done remote control. Massively bright staff too. Let me turn the lights off for you guys real quick so you can see how bright it gets. That's pretty nuts. That's the strobe blade. The entire room is just completely strobing out like I'm in a nightclub right now. Dual fire blades, very, very cool. Let's see if any of you guys can guess this tune. Anyone who was 10 in 1989, 90, you probably know. Yes, that's definitely the theme song from Airwolf. Love it. That's the battery indicator blade, so that means we're at the end. So the next one, back to the beginning again. The other cool thing about this program is you can easily see what the volume is at the level it is vis-a-vis what the maximum volume, minimum volume is. So if you guys are watching this video thinking this is quieter or louder than usual, this is it. 50% volume. The volume's right in the middle. I'm going to turn it up. That's 2500, that's like 3/4 volume. $3,000, that's maximum volume. All right. I'll just bring the lights back for you guys real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and shut the Bluetooth down since basically done showing off how it works. Dimitri, so far this is great. The only quirk that I have noticed at all with this software so far is something I just noticed, in that when you you activate the saber, sometimes the volume comes on kind of halfway and you have to adjust the volume slider bar to make it kind of jump back to the volume it's supposed to be. But that's the only thing I've noticed. And as far as the sensitivity goes, I'm not having any issue getting a good strong signal. We got 3 bars right now, and the Bluetooth chip is encased in both plastic and metal, and we're still getting a good strong signal. I'm going to go back across the room, and I've got 2 bars, back to 3 bars, back to 2 bars. So even at 10 feet, I'm getting at least 2 bars, if not 3 bars, on the signal strength. So the Bluetooth app, if you're using a reasonably good, hardware in both sides, the Bluetooth connection seems to be rock solid, not something you have to worry about. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. Got a couple more videos coming up. Hopefully, I will drop those videos at the same time as this one. And after I speak with Ronnie about this one, I'm not positive if he still wants this guy. If not, this one will be available for sale for whoever wants it. And stay tuned.